After 60, these 5 little things can hurt a man's ego more than you realize. Understanding the male ego after 60 isn't about walking on eggshells or diminishing yourself to protect someone's feelings. It's about recognizing that mature men carry specific vulnerabilities that, when inadvertently triggered, can damage even the strongest relationships. There are 5 particular things that wound a man's ego more deeply than most women realize, and understanding these can transform how you connect with the men in your life. Welcome back to Wise Advice for Elderly. Today, I'm going to reveal 5 unexpected ways that mature men's egos can be deeply hurt, often without women even realizing the impact of their words or actions. This isn't about changing who you are or censoring yourself. It's about understanding the psychology of men over 60 so you can love them more effectively while maintaining your own authenticity and strength. When you understand what truly affects a mature man's sense of self-worth, you can choose to be mindful of these sensitive areas while still being honest, direct, and true to yourself. This knowledge helps you build stronger, more connected relationships where both people feel valued and understood. But first, if you're ready to understand the deeper psychology of mature relationships and learn how to connect with men in ways that strengthen rather than inadvertently wound, hit that subscribe button now. Here at Wise Advice for Elderly, we explore the wisdom needed to create relationships that honor both partners' dignity and humanity. Thing number 1. Questioning his wisdom or life experience. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best revenge is not to be like your enemy." By the time a man reaches 60, he's spent decades accumulating wisdom through experience, mistakes, learning, and growth. His sense of self-worth is deeply tied to the belief that his years of living have created something valuable, wisdom that can benefit others and guide important decisions. When this wisdom is questioned, dismissed, or treated as irrelevant, it strikes at the core of what gives his life meaning. This doesn't mean you should never disagree with him or that his opinions are always right. It means understanding that how you disagree matters enormously to his sense of value and self-respect. Robert, 68, shared a painful memory. When Linda would say things like, "That's old-fashioned thinking," or "Times have changed since your day," it felt like she was dismissing not just my opinion, but my entire life experience. I started feeling like she saw me as an outdated relic, rather than someone whose years of living had created valuable insights. The wound comes not from disagreement itself, but from the implication that age has made him irrelevant rather than wise. When you need to offer a different perspective, acknowledging the value of his experience while sharing your own view protects his dignity while maintaining honest communication. Instead of, "That's not how things work anymore," try, "I can see the wisdom in your approach, and I've noticed things work a bit differently in my experience." This honors his knowledge while sharing your own, without creating a hierarchy where one perspective invalidates the other. The deeper psychology here is that men over 60 often struggle with feeling valued in a rapidly changing world. Their experience feels dismissed by society, their knowledge seems outdated to younger people, and their perspectives are often overlooked. When the woman they love also treats their wisdom as irrelevant, it confirms their deepest fear, that age has made them useless rather than valuable.
Thing number 2. Making him feel physically inadequate or old. Carl Jung observed, "Your vision becomes clear when you look into your heart. Who looks outside dreams. Who looks inside awakens." Men over 60 are already very aware of their physical changes and limitations. Their bodies aren't what they used to be. Their energy levels have shifted, and they're constantly reminded by society that youth equals vitality and attractiveness. When the woman in their life makes comments that highlight their physical inadequacies or aging, it can be devastating to their sense of masculinity and self-worth. This goes beyond obvious insults to include seemingly innocent observations that actually cut deeply. Thomas, 69, explained his experience. When Patricia would say things like, "Maybe we should take the elevator instead of the stairs," or "Are you sure you can carry that?" I know she meant to be helpful, but it made me feel like she saw me as frail and declining. Even worse was when she'd make comments about other men being still so energetic for their age, because it implied I wasn't. The hurt comes from feeling seen primarily through the lens of limitation, rather than capability. Men over 60 want to be appreciated for what they can still do, still offer, still contribute, rather than constantly reminded of what they've lost or can no longer manage. This doesn't mean ignoring real health concerns or safety issues. It means focusing on his strengths and capabilities while addressing limitations with sensitivity and respect. Instead of assuming he can't do something, ask if he'd like help. Instead of commenting on his physical changes, appreciate what remains strong and vital about him. David, 65, shared what made him feel valued. Carol never made me feel old or inadequate. When I needed to rest during our hike, she'd say, "This is a beautiful spot to sit and enjoy the view," rather than, "Are you getting tired?" She made everything feel like a choice rather than a limitation.
Thing number 3, comparing him unfavorably to other men. Maya Angelou said, "Try to be a rainbow in someone's cloud." Comparisons to other men, whether it's about their achievements, their physical condition, their financial status, their social skills, or their romantic gestures, can wound a mature man's ego more deeply than almost anything else. This happens because men over 60 are already comparing themselves to other men constantly. They see friends who seem healthier, wealthier, more successful, or more socially connected. They notice younger men who have energy and opportunities they no longer possess. When the woman they care about makes these comparisons explicit, it confirms their own insecurities and makes them feel inadequate. James, 67, described his hurt when Margaret would mention how romantic her friend's husband was, or how well another man was doing in retirement, or how active someone else's partner was. It made me feel like I was constantly being measured and found lacking. Even if she didn't mean it as criticism, it felt like nothing I did was ever quite good enough. The comparison doesn't have to be direct to be painful. Praising other men's qualities in ways that highlight what he doesn't possess, talking frequently about other men's achievements or attributes, or using other relationships as examples of what you wish yours included, all send the message that he's not measuring up to some standard. This is particularly sensitive for men over 60 because they're already dealing with the reality that they may not be able to compete in many areas with younger men, or even with some of their contemporaries who have been more fortunate in health, wealth, or circumstances. Instead of comparisons, focus on appreciating his unique qualities and contributions. Rather than saying, "John's husband surprised her with a wonderful trip," try, "I love how thoughtful you are in the ways you show you care about me." This acknowledges his specific way of expressing love rather than implying he should be more like someone else. If you're starting to understand how these seemingly small comments can create deep wounds, give this video a thumbs up. Awareness helps us love more skillfully.
Thing number 4. Dismissing his contributions or taking over his responsibilities. Rumi wrote, "Let yourself be silently drawn by the strange pull of what you really love. It will not lead you astray." Men over 60 have a deep need to feel useful, capable, and needed. Their sense of masculinity and self-worth is often tied to their ability to contribute, solve problems, and take care of the people they love. When their contributions are dismissed, minimized, or when women take over tasks that men see as their responsibility, it can feel emasculating and hurtful. This doesn't mean women should be helpless or dependent, but rather that understanding what makes him feel valuable and needed helps create balance in the relationship. William, 66, shared his frustration. Susan would ask for my help with something, and then while I was working on it, she'd jump in and start doing it differently or take over completely. Or she'd thank me for fixing something, but then immediately point out what I'd done wrong or how it could be better. It made me feel like my efforts weren't appreciated or valued. This also extends to decision-making and problem-solving. When women consistently override his input, make decisions without consulting him about things that affect both of them, or dismiss his solutions in favor of their own, it sends the message that his judgment and capabilities aren't trusted or valued. The key is finding balance between independence and allowing him to contribute meaningfully. This might mean giving him space to complete tasks his way, without immediately correcting or improving them, asking for his input on decisions that affect both of you, appreciating his efforts even when the results aren't perfect, and acknowledging the value of his contributions to your life and relationship. Frank, 68, described what made him feel valued. Linda would ask for my opinion and actually consider it. When I'd fix something or handle a problem, she'd genuinely thank me and focus on what I'd accomplished rather than what could be improved. She made me feel like my contributions mattered and were appreciated.
Thing number 5. Making him feel emotionally inadequate or unmanly. Viktor Frankl observed, "When we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves." Men over 60 grew up in an era where emotional expression was often discouraged or seen as weakness. They may struggle with vulnerability, emotional communication, or expressing feelings in ways that feel natural to women. When women criticize their emotional communication style, compare them unfavorably to more emotionally expressive men, or make them feel inadequate for not being more open or vulnerable, it can create deep shame and withdrawal. This is particularly painful because it attacks their sense of masculinity while demanding they change fundamental aspects of how they've learned to navigate the world. Robert, 68, explained his experience. When Linda would say things like, "Why can't you just open up?" or "Other men aren't afraid to show their feelings," it made me feel broken and inadequate. I was trying to connect with her in the ways I knew how, but it felt like nothing I did was right because I wasn't emotional enough or expressive enough. This doesn't mean accepting emotional unavailability or poor communication. It means understanding that men of this generation may express love and care differently than women do, and that shaming them for their emotional style often makes them withdraw further rather than open up more. Instead of criticizing his emotional expression, try appreciating the ways he does show care and affection. Look for his love language rather than expecting him to speak yours. Create safe space for vulnerability without demanding it. Acknowledge his efforts to connect emotionally, even if they don't match your preferred style. Thomas, 69, shared what helped him open up. "Patricia never made me feel wrong for being less verbally emotional than she was. She noticed and appreciated when I showed care through actions, when I listened carefully, when I tried to solve her problems. Because she valued my way of caring, I gradually felt safer being more vulnerable with her."
Are you beginning to see how these sensitivities reflect deeper needs for respect and value? Leave a comment below about how understanding these dynamics might change how you communicate in relationships.
The 5 things that wound a mature man's ego all share one thread. They make him feel diminished or irrelevant. By their 60s, men already face cultural messages that their best years are behind them. When the woman they love unknowingly reinforces those feelings, it cuts deeply into their sense of worth. This isn't about avoiding disagreement, it's about speaking truth with respect. When a man feels valued, he naturally becomes more loving, generous, and open. Eleanor Roosevelt once said, "Great minds discuss ideas. Average minds discuss events. Small minds discuss people." In mature love, the most nourishing conversations are those that revolve around ideas, dreams, and shared values. It means choosing words that encourage rather than diminish, recognizing effort instead of focusing only on flaws, and expressing needs clearly without making him feel small. This kind of dialogue strengthens the bond while allowing both partners to feel respected. Being mindful of his sensitivities doesn't mean silencing yourself. It means communicating honestly in ways that don't needlessly wound. You can remain strong, clear, and authentic while still showing care for how your words land. This balance creates a space where both partners feel safe to share openly without fear of judgment. When you speak in ways that honor his dignity, you set the tone for how you deserve to be treated in return. Respect in mature relationships works like a cycle. Your thoughtfulness invites his, and over time, it creates more patience, tenderness, and connection on both sides. Understanding what hurts a mature man's ego isn't about protecting fragility, it's about building intimacy. Love deepens when both people feel safe to be vulnerable, trusting that their partner will handle their heart with care. By recognizing these 5 sensitive areas, his experience, his strength, his comparisons, his usefulness, and his emotions, you can communicate with honesty and compassion. That balance allows your love to grow richer and more enduring with time.
If this video helped you understand how to communicate more skillfully in mature relationships, make sure to subscribe to Wise Advice for Elderly and share this with someone who could benefit from this wisdom. Let me know in the comments which of these insights surprised you most. And remember, the goal isn't to protect egos, but to love in ways that honor both people's humanity and dignity. Remember, wise woman, understanding someone's vulnerabilities gives you the power to wound or to heal. Choose to use this knowledge to love more skillfully, communicate more effectively, and create relationships where both people feel valued and cherished for who they really are.